Continuing from the last chapter, in order to enhance his strength to confront the Soul Clan, Xiao Yan, with the help of Gu Yuan, re-entered the heavenly tomb with the intent of resurrecting the Xiao clan's ancestor, Xiao Xuan. Xiao Yan gazed fervently at Xiao Xuan and softly said, "I want to find a way to bring you back to life." Upon hearing this, Xiao Xuan was momentarily taken aback, then gently smiled and shook his head, saying, "I am now merely a remnant soul, and even calling myself that might be an exaggeration. If not for the peculiar nature of the heavenly tomb, I would have long vanished from this world. As for resurrection, I fear it is truly impossible." Hearing this, although Xiao Yan had mentally prepared himself, he couldn't help but feel deeply disappointed. Xiao Xuan's strength was comparable to that of the Emperor of the Soul. If he could lend a hand, dealing with the Soul Clan might not be so impossible. Is there really no way at all? Xiao Yan sighed, still somewhat unwilling to give up. Well, at least I don't know of any method to revive me. Perhaps a legendary Do-Di expert might be able to do it. Xiao Xuan laughed freely. Do-Di. Xiao Yan smiled bitterly. This shattered almost all his hopes. In this world, there were no longer any Do-Di experts. If there were, the Soul Clan wouldn't be so rampant. Don't waste your efforts on me, who is already dead. Xiao Xuan smiled and shook his head, his gaze softening as he looked at the young man before him. Without relying on the power of bloodline, you have achieved such great accomplishments. To be honest, it makes me very proud. The men of the Xiao clan are indeed extraordinary. The Soul Clan's possession of the Devouring Spirit clan's ability is indeed surprising to me. I didn't expect them to hide the void-swallowing flame so well. But thinking back, it explains why many ancient clans gradually declined and disappeared. Xiao Xuan clicked his tongue. With the Soul Clan's current power, even the Gu clan might find it hard to contend with them alone. Xiao Yan nodded silently. The current situation was indeed unfavorable for them. As for the Tuasha Ancient Emperor Jade, the Soul Clan has obtained 7 pieces. The last piece is in your possession, and you need it to exchange for your father from the Soul Clan. Xiao Xuan leaned against the tombstone, looking at Xiao Yan. In that case, the Tuasha Ancient Emperor Jade will be complete. With the complete Jade, they can locate and open the Tuasha Ancient Emperor's mansion. Does the Ancestor know what is inside the Tuasha Ancient Emperor's mansion? Can it really enable someone to become a Do-Di? Xiao Yan asked, frowning slightly. Do-Di, Xiao Xuan murmured, the term he once pursued with such fervor. In this Do-Chi continent, it has been nearly 10,000 years since a Do-Di expert last appeared. No one knows why. In ancient times, Do-Di experts were the strongest in the world, but they were real. Now, that realm exists only in legends. The events of ancient times are beyond investigation. No one understands why reaching the Do-Di level is so difficult now. When I reached the peak of the 9-star Do-Sheng stage, I tried to break through to that elusive level but failed. However, during those repeated failures, I did discover something. Xiao Xuan's eyes sparkled with a hint of light. Oh, what did you discover? Xiao Yan's spirit lifted. Back in the day with my strength, I was fully capable of breaking through to Do-Di. However, each time I was about to overcome that barrier, a sense of emptiness would surge from the depths of my soul. This feeling of emptiness made me realize that I seemed to be lacking something crucial in the process of breaking through to the Do-Di level. This missing element is extremely vital. If I could obtain it, breaking through to Do-Di would not be a mere fantasy. Xiao Xuan's lips tightened, his expression becoming somewhat serious. Upon hearing this, Xiao Yan fell into deep thought. He suddenly remembered the Yellow Spring Demon Saint within the stone tablet of the 9 Nether Earth Python clan. The saint had also mentioned that the current Do-Chi continent seemed to be missing something. It was this missing element that had prevented anyone from breaking through to the Do-Di level for thousands of years. What exactly is missing? Xiao Yan frowned tightly. The missing element might be some kind of item, but I believe it is more likely a unique type of energy. This energy should have existed in ancient times, but now it has become increasingly scarce, even completely vanished. Xiao Xuan's eyes glinted with wisdom as he looked at Xiao Yan. I call this crucial energy primordial emperor qi. Only with this primordial emperor can one truly break through that barrier and become the supreme expert of this world. Primordial Emperor Qi, Xiao Yan murmured, realizing he had never felt this sensation before. It must be because he had not yet reached the late stage of 9-star Dosheng. Ancestor, you mean that in ancient times, there was Primordial Emperor Qi, which allowed the emergence of Do-Di experts. But now that the Primordial Emperor Qi has disappeared, there are no Do-Di experts? That seems to be the case. I have traveled across most of the Do-Qi continent, but still have not sensed the presence of Primordial Emperor Qi. Xiao Xuan nodded. So, does this mean that no new Do-Di experts will emerge on the Do-Qi continent? Yet, the Emperor of the Soul firmly believes that the Tuasha Ancient Emperor's mansion can help him break through. Could it be that the mansion contains Primordial Emperor Qi? Xiao Yan's eyes flashed with insight. I don't know if the Tuasha Ancient Emperor's mansion contains Primordial Emperor Qi, but I do know that there is an Imperial-grade primordial pill in its nascent form within the mansion. That pill is the Emperor of the Soul's target, Xiao Xuan said, shaking his head. A nascent Imperial-grade primordial pill? Xiao Yan's heart trembled, and his expression changed slightly. As an alchemist, he was well aware of the significance of an Imperial-grade primordial pill. For many alchemists, it was their ultimate pursuit and faith. That supreme-grade pill drove countless alchemists to madness. However, ever since ancient times, there had been no news of anyone successfully refining an Imperial-grade primordial pill. Even 9-grade pills had become rare. Although this was partly due to the loss of alchemical knowledge, the primary reason was the absence of Primordial Emperor Qi in the world. Refining an Imperial-grade primordial pill also requires the Primordial Emperor Qi I mentioned. Without it, even the most skilled alchemist cannot make something out of nothing. Xiao Xuan said. If my guess is correct, the nascent Imperial-grade primordial pill in the Tuasha Ancient Emperor's mansion is probably the only one in this world. Therefore, if the Emperor of the Soul obtains it, he could very well absorb the Primordial Emperor Qi within it and break through to the Do-Di level, a realm no one has reached in thousands of years. Xiao Yan nodded solemnly. Just one Emperor-grade primordial pill was enough to drive any 9-star Do-Sheng mad with desire. No wonder the Soul Clan was so fixated on the Tuasha Ancient Emperor's abode. It was for this very reason. Does our ancestor know the location of the Tuasha Ancient Emperor's abode? Xiao Yan asked with some hope. If they knew, even if the Soul Clan managed to gather all the ancient jade pieces, they could wait at the abode. No matter what, they had to seize the Imperial-grade primordial pill, and if they couldn't, they had to destroy it. Everyone understood that if the Emperor of the Soul successfully ascended to Do-Di, no one in the world could stand against him. The so-called alliance would be utterly powerless under the might of a Do-Di. I'm afraid I don't know. The information about the Emperor-grade primordial pill inside the Tuasha Ancient Emperor's abode was known when the Tuasha Ancient Emperor Jade was still intact. However, before I could fully decipher the Jade's information, the 8 ancient clans were already in turmoil, leading to the Jade being split into 8 pieces. Xiao Xuan shook his head and said, So, to know the location of the Tuasha Ancient Emperor's abode, we must gather all 8 Jade pieces. Furthermore, to open the abode, we still need all 8 pieces, he added. Xiao Yan frowned deeply. Only now did he understand why the ancient clans valued the ancient jade so highly. Everything depended on the jade. If the Soul Clan managed to gather all the jade pieces, it would indeed be a huge problem. Do what you can. We are not legendary heroes. We practice so arduously just to protect the ones we want to protect, Xiao Xuan said with a smile, seeing Xiao Yan's serious expression. Xiao Yan understands. Xiao Yan nodded slightly, bowing respectfully. Xiao Xuan patted Xiao Yan's shoulder, saying, I quite like you, kid. It's a pity you were born so many years too late. Hearing this, Xiao Yan couldn't help but smile bitterly and shake his head. That was beyond his control. Xiao Xuan stood up, gazing into the misty space. Suddenly, he smiled and said, Kid, although I can't help you directly against the Soul Clan, I can still bestow upon you a fortuitous opportunity. Xiao Yan was stunned, looking at Xiao Xuan in confusion. Clearly, he didn't understand what Xiao Xuan meant by this fortuitous opportunity. In the heavenly tomb, no mediocre soul is buried. The countless remnants here were once formidable figures. While I can no longer help much with your physical strength, I can assist you in the realm of the soul, Xiao Xuan said with a smile, spreading his hands as if encompassing the entire heavenly tomb. This twisted place should not exist. I have long wanted to erase it. At this point, Xiao Xuan turned his head to look at Xiao Yan, his soft voice echoing through the space. Suddenly, all the energy bodies within the heavenly tomb began to tremble. I will transform the soul of the heavenly tomb to aid you. Whether you can break through to the great perfection of the heavenly realm and advance to the Emperor Realm Soul will depend entirely on your fortune. Emperor Realm Soul? Xiao Yan stared blankly at Xiao Xuan, who wore a smile on his face. Xiao Xuan's words left him feeling parched. In this world, anything associated with the word Emperor was a symbol of immense power. Be it Do Di or Emperor grade pills, these were considered supreme by everyone. Similarly, the Emperor Realm Soul held the same reverence. Do Di, Emperor grade pills, and Emperor Realm Soul. Among the three emperors, considering the current state of the continent, achieving the third seemed the most probable. After all, this level didn't require absorbing the so-called primordial Emperor Qi. However, this did not mean that reaching the Emperor Realm Soul was easy. According to Xiao Yan's guess, only 2 people on the continent had attained the Emperor Realm Soul, Gu Yuan and the Emperor of the Soul. Xiao Yan's current soul level was at the great perfection of the heavenly realm, just a step away from the Emperor Realm Soul. However, this small step was a barrier many powerful beings could never cross, no matter how hard they trained. As an alchemist, Xiao Yan was acutely aware of this. He had been at the great perfection of the heavenly realm for many years, but despite all his efforts, he could not bridge the gap to the Emperor Realm Soul. It felt like no matter how he trained, he could not fill the seemingly insurmountable distance between the great perfection of the heavenly realm and the Emperor Realm Soul. Therefore, when Xiao Yan heard that Xiao Xuan's fortuitous opportunity involved the Emperor Realm Soul, he couldn't help but be stunned, despite his usual composure. How is that possible? After a long moment of stupor, Xiao Yan finally regained his senses, shaking his head with a bitter smile. In this world, there weren't many experts whose soul realms had reached the great perfection of the heavenly realm, but they did exist. From Xiao Yan's experience, besides the Emperor of the Soul and Gu Yuan, no one else had reached that level. It is indeed an extremely difficult task, but not entirely impossible, Xiao Xuan said with a somewhat peculiar smile. He lifted his head, his deep gaze fixed on the misty void, and said slowly, "The soul of the heavenly tomb I mentioned is not those remnant souls here, but the soul of the heavenly tomb itself." The soul of the heavenly tomb? This tomb has a soul? Xiao Yan was shocked, staring at Xiao Xuan in disbelief. A peculiar life form, created from the countless remnant soul imprints since the inception of the heavenly tomb. You can consider it the guardian of the heavenly tomb. Of course, I think calling it a warden would be more appropriate. It controls this space and instills the desire to devour each other in these energy bodies. Xiao Xuan's gaze was fixed on the void as he spoke calmly. No one can sense its existence except the energy bodies here. Even Gu Yuan and others are unaware of it. Xiao Yan swallowed hard. This was his first encounter with a space possessing a soul. It was truly mysterious. The Do Di who constructed this space had abilities beyond imagination. Is it strong? Xiao Yan murmured. Anyone buried in the heavenly tomb was a formidable figure in their lifetime. Since the soul of the heavenly tomb could absorb their soul remnants, it must not be easy to deal with. Very strong. Xiao Xuan's simple words made Xiao Yan's expression serious. If Xiao Xuan could say such a thing, it meant that the soul of the heavenly tomb was indeed terrifying. Don't worry, though it's troublesome, it can be handled. Xiao Xuan's body slowly ascended, and as he rose, the pervasive mist rapidly dissipated. A terrifying pressure emanated from him, almost enveloping the entire heavenly tomb. Under this dreadful pressure, all the energy bodies in the heavenly tomb raised their heads, gazing in the direction of Xiao Xuan's ascending figure. Their previously lifeless eyes showed a trace of excitement. Is Lord Xiao Xuan finally going to take action against it? In the depths of the heavenly tomb, The blood-blade saint stood up abruptly, his body trembling as he looked at the rising figure. Although this place allowed them to exist in another form, it was not what they desired. The soul of the heavenly tomb had planted the desire to devour each other among their remnants, turning this place into a world of mutual consumption. To strengthen oneself, one had to continuously devour other energy bodies. For those who were once human, it was no different from cannibalism. The heavenly tomb was initially just a resting place for the strong. However, since the birth of the soul of the heavenly tomb, this world had become twisted. Some had tried to challenge the soul of the heavenly tomb, but were easily devoured. The only being in this space that it feared was Xiao Xuan in the depths of the heavenly tomb. Long ago, some had begged Xiao Xuan to relieve them of their suffering, but he had not responded. Over time, the energy bodies here gradually became disheartened. Since they could not resist, they had no choice but to endure it quietly. Because of this, when they suddenly saw Xiao Xuan's actions, their previously numb hearts couldn't help but ignite with passion once more. They were tired of this mutual devouring. They were humans, not beasts. In those days, I had my own mission, which required me to stay here. Now, my mission is complete. Your requests from back then, this time, I will fulfill them. Xiao Xuan's body hovered in the sky, untouched by the fierce winds that could scatter souls. He looked down at the ground, his calm voice echoing in the ears of all the energy bodies. Lord Xiao Xuan. On the ground, some energy bodies that were still fighting suddenly froze. A wave of emotion appeared in their previously blood-red and numb eyes. Trembling, they looked up at the figures standing in the sky. In an instant, countless figures knelt on the ground. Xiao Yan's body also rose into the air. Watching the actions of the energy bodies in the heavenly tomb, he remained silent. As an outsider, he did not know what had happened here, and naturally, he could not understand their feelings. However, at least he could see one thing clearly. The soul of the heavenly tomb was not something people liked. As thoughts raced through Xiao Yan's mind, a thunderous noise suddenly erupted from the void. The sound, like rolling thunder, swept out from the depths of the void, causing many energy bodies in the heavenly tomb to tremble violently. Xiao Yan's gaze was fixed on the distant horizon. At this moment, he could faintly feel a soul fluctuation as vast and unfathomable as the ocean suddenly appear. This soul fluctuation was terrifying. Just touching it felt like being crushed under a huge mountain. However, despite its terrifying strength, it gave him a sense of fragmentation, likely due to devouring too many soul remnants. In the hazy void, invisible soul fluctuations quickly condensed. Moments later, the space wriggled, and a gigantic face, about 10,000 feet in size, emerged from the void and appeared in the sky. The enormous face was filled with a cold and eerie expression. So this is the soul of the heavenly tomb? Xiao Yan's expression turned serious as he muttered to himself, staring at the giant soul face forming in the sky. Xiao Xuan, we have always stayed out of each other's way. Today, do you intend to break our agreement? The enormous face contorted, its emotionless eyes fixed on Xiao Xuan hovering in the sky. Its cold voice rumbled like thunder, echoing across the heavens and earth. Xiao Xuan looked at the giant face and smiled, speaking softly, "Your very existence is a mistake. I don't think the Dodi who created the heavenly tomb ever expected that such a bizarre being like you would come into existence here. Nonsense. I was born according to the will of my master. I am the guardian of this space. You are alive because of me, and you must follow my rules." The giant face twisted. The soul of the heavenly tomb said indifferently, "They live because of the heavenly tomb, not because of you." Xiao Xuan shook his head. "I am the heavenly tomb, and the heavenly tomb is me." The voice of the heavenly tomb soul suddenly became much sharper. "You are not the heavenly tomb. You were not born because of the heavenly tomb, but because of their remnant souls. In a way, they created you." Xiao Xuan smiled slightly, his calm voice causing the giant face to become increasingly distorted and grotesque. "If you insist on seeking death, I will grant you your wish." The giant face churned, and from its enormous mouth, a colossal soul storm erupted, spinning wildly like a sharp drill, violently shooting towards Xiao Xuan. Facing the attack of the heavenly tomb soul, Xiao Xuan merely stepped forward, walking towards the giant face. The seemingly ferocious soul storm passed through his body as if it didn't cause him any harm. Xiao Xuan walked unimpeded to the base of the giant face. Suddenly, a peculiar spark appeared on his body, making it seem as if his very soul was burning. "Hand over your soul essence to me." The strange flames spread from every pore of Xiao Xuan's body, and his smile became even more gentle. "Soul self-immolation? Xiao Xuan, you're crazy?" Seeing the peculiar flames rising from Xiao Xuan's body, a look of shock appeared on the giant face, and it shouted sharply, "Soul self-immolation means you will completely disappear from this world." Soul self-immolation? Below, Xiao Yan's body suddenly trembled violently, and his face changed drastically. As an alchemist, he naturally understood what soul combustion meant. It was a way similar to body explosion, releasing tremendous power in a short period, but at the cost of life. Soul combustion was the same, burning the soul to gain a sudden surge of immense power, but the price was the complete annihilation of the soul. Ancestor. Xiao Yan's body shook slightly, and his eyes couldn't help but redden. Xiao Xuan hadn't told him he would combust his soul. "My mission is complete. Whether I disappear or not no longer matters." Facing the slightly horrified soul of the heavenly tomb, Xiao Xuan smiled faintly. Without saying more, he raised his flaming hand and reached towards the ladder. Instantly, a terrifying suction force formed in his palm. From the giant mouth of the soul of the heavenly tomb, violent fluctuations erupted as if something was being forcibly extracted. "If you want to die, don't drag me along." The soul of the heavenly tomb roared angrily, causing the entire heavenly tomb to tremble. Its giant mouth opened wide, and an invisible soul spear, hundreds of feet long, shot out, tearing through space, aiming fiercely at Xiao Xuan. "I am burning my soul. You cannot stop me." Facing the resistance of the soul of the heavenly tomb, Xiao Xuan remained calm, with a slight smile. He reached out his hand, gently gripping the oncoming soul spear. Suddenly, the spear halted. With a light wave of his sleeve, the spear turned back, rushing towards the soul of the heavenly tomb with even greater ferocity. The spear was now tinged with peculiar flames, the flames of soul combustion. The spear's reflection was incredibly fast, piercing through the giant face in an instant. The flames on the spear spread like a wildfire meeting dry wood, rapidly engulfing everything. As the flames spread, the soul of the heavenly tomb let out a horrific scream. If it were a normal fight, it might fear Xiao Xuan but wouldn't be afraid. However, Xiao Xuan had combusted his soul from the start, causing his power to surge drastically. Even for the soul of the heavenly tomb, it was difficult to resist. Moreover, the flames of soul combustion were incredibly destructive to soul entities like it. In the sky, the giant soul face was engulfed in flames, quickly shrinking. Simultaneously, waves of frenzied soul attacks continuously erupted from it, turning the world upside down. All energy entities fled far from the area, terrified of being caught in the turmoil and ending up with their souls scattered. The pure lotus demon flame swirled around Xiao Yan. Although the soul attacks were extremely powerful, with his strength, he could withstand them, so he did not retreat. He kept his gaze fixed on the battle in the sky. Xiao Xuan's soul power had now reached an incredibly terrifying level. No matter how Xiao Yan probed, he could not find its limits. Clearly, the soul combustion had placed Xiao Xuan in an almost invincible state. However, the thought that this state required Xiao Xuan to sacrifice his soul made Xiao Yan clench his fists tightly. Although Xiao Xuan was now just a remnant soul, he still existed. After this battle, when his soul burned out, he would completely disappear from this world. "Xiao Xuan, I won't let you go." The giant face shrank in the flames, eventually transforming into a humanoid figure with blood-red, furious eyes fixed on Xiao Xuan, brimming with killing intent. Xiao Xuan ignored the roars of the soul of the heavenly tomb. His hands came together, rapidly forming complex and intricate seals. As his seals changed, fiery lines suddenly shot out from his fingertips, quickly weaving together in the sky to form a massive formation. At the center of this formation was the soul of the heavenly tomb. As soon as the formation took shape, before the soul of the heavenly tomb could react, fiery lines descended from the formation, piercing through its body and entangling it within the formation. Faced with the entanglement, the soul of the heavenly tomb struggled frantically. Waves of soul power, strong enough to make Xiao Yan change color, bombarded the fiery lines like cannonballs. However, the seemingly fragile fiery lines had a great restraining effect on soul power. No matter how powerful the soul attacks were, they quickly faded upon contact with the lines. If even in this state I can't deal with you, then you'd be underestimating me too much, Xiao Xuan said. Xiao Xuan glanced at the frantically struggling soul of the heavenly tomb, smiling faintly. His voice was not loud, but it carried a certain authority. Once the supreme power of his era, even now as a remnant soul, he still exuded a commanding presence. Xiao Xuan, let me go. We can discuss whatever you want. After struggling for a long time to no avail, the tone of the soul of the heavenly tomb softened considerably. It understood that Xiao Xuan in this state was far stronger. However, if it could endure this period, Xiao Xuan would eventually dissipate. No need for discussions. Hand over your soul origin. Xiao Xuan smiled at the soul of the heavenly tomb's softened tone. With a change in his hand seals, countless fiery lines suddenly pierced into the soul's body. As they slowly retracted, a crystalline light orb, about 10 feet in diameter, was gradually pulled out from the soul of the heavenly tomb. As the crystalline orb emerged, brilliant light spilled out from it. Xiao Yan extended his hand into the radiant light, feeling a warm sensation emanating from the depths of his soul. At that moment, it seemed as if his soul was crying out greedily. So, this is the soul origin of the soul of the heavenly tomb, Xiao Yan muttered to himself. When he destroyed the Soul Hall's human hall, he had obtained some soul origins collected by the Soul Hall. However, compared to the light before him now, those soul origins were like small fry. The purity of the current light orb was immensely stronger than those of the Soul Halls. Roar! As the soul origin was forcibly extracted, the soul of the heavenly tomb roared like a wild beast, finally feeling fear. Xiao Xuan, let me go. I'll give you the entire heavenly tomb. You can have anything you want. In its terror, the soul of the heavenly tomb cried out incessantly. However, its cries were to no avail. Xiao Xuan didn't even spare it a glance, rapidly changing his hand seals. The power of the fiery lines grew stronger, and finally, most of the crystalline orb was forcibly torn from the body of the soul of the heavenly tomb. Xiao Xuan, I'll fight you to the death. Feeling the power within its body rapidly draining, the soul of the heavenly tomb realized that if it didn't go all out, it would be doomed. Its body glowed brightly, and faint flames began to rise. It was forced to combust its soul as well. However, just as the flames began to flicker on its body, a palm strike descended from the sky, hitting its face with immense force and sending it flying. At the same time, the entire crystalline orb was forcibly pulled out from its body with a popping sound. No, give it back to me. As the soul essence was forcibly extracted, a debilitating weakness immediately overwhelmed the heavenly tomb soul. It roared madly, lunging towards the stolen essence. Facing the incoming heavenly tomb soul, Xiao Xuan waved his sleeve, unleashing a terrifying gust that directly repelled the soul, sending it crashing to the ground. As the heavenly tomb soul fell, the distant energy entity's eyes turned blood red, filled with a hateful gleam. Finally, with low growls, they surged en masse, frantically attacking the now feeble heavenly tomb soul. Deprived of its strength, the heavenly tomb soul could not withstand such a torrent of attacks. Soon, a chilling scream echoed as its body was violently shattered to pieces. An enraged and unwilling remnant of the soul rose, gradually dissipating with the wind. Thus ended the heavenly tomb soul of this era. With the heavenly tomb soul's disappearance, the blood-red eyes of the energy entities began to clear. The desire to devour others faded significantly. After a moment of stunned silence, Nearly all of them knelt respectfully towards Xiao Xuan in the sky. Xiao Xuan paid no heed to their actions. A crystal light ring, about a meter in size, floated before him. Turning his gaze to Xiao Yan below, he smiled gently. Little guy, this is all I can do for you. Whether you can break through to the Emperor Realm Soul depends entirely on your own fortune.